for or a member of or associated in any way with the House of Delegates. This is a very historic, a very fascinating, a very dynamic institution. Our antecedents go back to the House of Burgesses in 1619. We've been at this for almost 400 years. For better or for worse, I'm hoping for more good than bad. I guess the people will be judge of that. But 2019 will celebrate 400 years of history. This Commonwealth is a voyage of self-government. It's an ongoing experiment. And I think it's important that we have people of the dedication and the character, the values that I think Mark Berg represents, like so many others that sit in this body. I love working for the House of Delegates. It is a wonderful institution where we make laws and represent and serve and govern ourselves. I think that's very important. I think we lose sight of that. I love civics education. I was a political philosophy major. I really believe in this stuff. I'd love to be able to ignite that passion in others. In fact, if you all are here supporting someone like Delegate Berg and his character, I think is a testament to the friends that he has and the people you are. So I'm glad you're able to come and celebrate this exciting day. One of the other things that I get very excited about is we get to come to work every day in Mr. Jefferson Capitol. A lot of people get to work in the building designed by Thomas Jefferson. It's a great honor. It's a wonderful place. We sometimes take it for granted because we're in the hustle and bustle, but on days like this, you get to pause and sort of reflect and think about and be inspired about and be motivated by where we get to come to work. This building, the cornerstone, was laid in 1785. It's based on Korean Roman temple and means Francis Thomas Jefferson's hall when he was minister there. We began meeting here permanently since 1788. In 1905, 1906, we added the 2 wings to make way for our growing Commonwealth. We have came in 2005, 2007, we spent about $104 million of your taxpayer dollars to restore the sparkle on this really jewel. One of the publications recently, 10 buildings that transformed America. Number 1 was this building. It's a wonderful place. It's a very beautiful place. We have had, the gold leaf, we had the scaffoldings in and they were painting on that. It took about 2 years. Everything was gutted on the inside, except for the Houdon statue, which is the most priceless piece of artwork we have in the Capitol. That's what George Washington actually looked like. And, the mask with the little straws, in his nose, taken from life. That's what, that great leader actually looked like. So I hope you get a chance to kind of pause on that. When the Queen came in 2000, at the end of our restoration, we had spit up and get everything all organized and cleaned and put away. So that put a little bit of pressure on. We've had Margaret Thatcher, Winston Churchill. Many distinguished people have come here to help make history. Today we have the honor of making some history with swearing in Delegate Berg. You know him better than I do at this point. I've gotten to know him in terms of, new member orientation and whatnot. I look forward to working with him, with every member of this House. I appreciate, and you know far better than I, the sacrifices that he and every delegate makes. I think what makes our Commonwealth different, and I would argue better than some parts of the way our country is run, is we have citizen legislators. People who are in the community, whether they're a lawyer, doctor, or an educator, or healthcare, whatever. They live under the laws that we make. They are out practicing in their communities, listening and being tied back to those that they are here to try to help improve their lives and lives. That's what I think the legislature is all about, really. Here, obviously, to serve, represent, and improve the lives and livelihoods. I think that's one of the motivations and negative characteristics that Mark has. But not for me traveling on like this. I just think it's wonderful to be able to share special moments like this with family and friends. And so without further ado, Delegate Berg, if you'd like to come up and I'd love to swear you in. Family, friends. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear.
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
all duties incumbent upon me
all duties incumbent upon me
as a member of the Virginia House of Delegates
as a member of the Virginia House of
to
Delegates
the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. So help me God. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Mark.
I'd like to give Tony Staudemeyer a minute to speak. She's graciously said that she would do that for me. So without ado.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like everyone here, I'm looking forward to solid representation from the newly elected delegates of the 29th and 33rd districts. I congratulate them on their hard-fought races and the victories that were heralded as long shots from the start. Many are hopeful that the voices of the not-so-silent majority will begin to be represented more. That hope is mine also as more people are beginning to pay attention to what our elected representatives are actually doing, and not just what the media, sound bites, or the politicians themselves lead them to believe that they're doing. I met Mark about 4 years ago as travelers down the road trying to make a difference in our country. I am proud of him for demonstrating the courage of his convictions to run for office. These days, you open yourself up to many things by stepping outside of your comfort zone. And Mark faced the challenges that most patriots of today do. Mark never faltered. He never was swayed from his journey. I proudly call him our delegate in the 29th, but most of all, I proudly call him my friend. Thanks, Mark, from all of us. And without further ado, Mark Berg, delegate from the 29th district.
I'd just like to say a few words of thanks. It's great to have friends and family here in this historic building. It's absolutely steeped in history, as Arnaldo has mentioned to you. And I wanted to mention that, in fact, I got the bug to run, I guess, after I talked to my colleague freshman Dave Larock, who indicated he may be running for a House of Delegates seat. This was back when I first heard about it in the Reagan-Lincoln dinner last year at Frederick County. And a number of people, well, not a lot, but a few people asked me if I would run and gave me encouragement. And I think that was instrumental in helping me, decide that I wanted to run. And as you know, we worked hard in the primary, and Dave Larock and I were both elected and worked hard were nominated in the primary and worked hard to be elected. And I'm very thankful for all the support that I had. If it hadn't been for the people out there that really stood by me and put in a lot of time, and many of you here, but there were many, many more, I wouldn't have been able to do this. I don't want to single out any names because everybody worked very, very hard, and I'd be afraid that I would forget somebody. I'm very anxious to get going and do what I promised to do and try to stick with those fundamental foundational principles. As Paul said, a lot of those principles, and when you heard Delegate Mitchell speak earlier, perhaps if you were at Dave Larock's swearing in, these foundational principles started in Virginia. And as he mentioned, we've been here for almost 400 years. And I want to help strengthen some of those principles. Strong, constitutionally limited government, fiscal responsibility, and standing up for individual liberties, which was one of the very early and strong factors in the founding of this country. And Virginia was wrapped right up in that as much as any other state, Commonwealth, at the time. I would just like to thank, again, everybody for being here. And I do have a few people that I would like to invite up to speak. And if, in fact, anybody else wants to come that I don't know, but I would like Dave Lamont to come up if he would. And I would like Randy Mitchell to join me here. And there are a couple people that wanted to speak, Mike or Dennis. And whoever wants to come up, a couple people that asked me, please come up now. Dennis, if you wanted. And just before we do that, there's two people I want you all to see, and I want to specifically introduce them, because they're going to be with me here in Richmond. That would be my legislative assistant, Willie Deutsch. Come on up, Willie. And Willie is a great person. It's been a super help for me. He's a hard worker, and he's exactly what I need, I think, to get me in line here and make sure I get done what's got to be done. And then I would like to invite Jay Morris up too, so you can see the two people that will be actually the face of our team. As far as down here in Richmond, we'll have a lot of help continuing throughout the year, and that'll switch a little bit starting in March when we get out. But I would like Willie to say a few words, and Jay to say a few words if he would, and there'll be a couple other people.